Zimbabwe cash crisis worse.
Talking about Venezuela once again.
Systemic important banks. They removed the one factor you do this thing here called monetary awareness. Hey there, hope all is well. Back at you today with some RT News updates. And as you can tell from today's title, we're going to be talking about UBI, that's Universal Basic Income, and how current Mayor Rahm Emanuel has proposed the idea of setting up a task force to look into fighting poverty as well as financial inequality in the city of Chicago by giving people approximately $500 a month, as if that's really going to help solve problems. But yet I have a couple articles here that I'm going to share with you in regards to more of the problem that the city of Chicago is actually facing at this current time, especially announcing the fact that last week Rahm Emanuel announced that he will not be seeking another term at mayor of the city of Chicago. So before I dive into today's articles, as always, if you're new to RTD, I want to encourage you to click the subscribe button along with the notification tab to be informed of future updates as well as live streams. Also join me on Twitter, where I share posts throughout the day on various subject matters dealing with our monetary system as well as whatever's happening in the news that I can't get to via video. Make sure you click the button down below to be notified when things are posted. So today I have a couple articles I want to share with you in reference to the whole UBI as well as the pension situation that's happening in the state of Illinois, in particular in the city of Chicago. And so the very first article here is from foxnews.com, and it says Chicago sets up Universal Basic Income Task Force as city seeks ways to tackle poverty. So here I encourage you to take a couple minutes to listen to this video here. It's quite informative, but give you an idea what's going on here. More importantly, if you're interested, read further for yourself. Click the links down below. Chicago Mayor Rahm Emanuel will form a task force that will consider implementing a so-called Universal Basic Income program in the city as the embattled mayor seeks to cement his progressive legacy after promising not to run for another term. It says the idea for the program, which would make monthly payments to a number of Chicago families without any conditions, has been floated around in the city for months now. It says back in June, Chicago's North Side, Amelia Pawar introduced a resolution calling upon the mayor to launch the pilot of the program and pay 1,000 families $500 every month. It says the new task force is set up by Rahm Emanuel, according to Chicago Tribune, will have a panel that will decide whether such welfare incentives could work in the city. Scroll down a little bit more. It says, but the creation of the task force may open Rahm Emanuel for criticism, as it comes just less than a week after he announced that he would not run for a third term. The decisions to implement a potentially costly program, to say the least, will rest on the shoulders of another mayor. So here we have current mayor, as he's leaving office, proposing the idea of giving out something quote unquote free, which will pose more of a burden upon the state of Illinois as well as the city of Chicago taxpayers. But as it says in this article here, he might be more concerned with his legacy. So here we have the idea that, in fact, they're floating out a number, $500, as if that's really going to make a difference in anyone's life, given the fact that rents are up, car notes are up, all the utility and cost for living and sustaining your life has gone up. But yet they feel for some reason $500 is that magical number that they can give people per month, and it's going to really make a difference. So more information down below if you're interested in reading for yourself. Next article here says Emanuel wants state support for $600 million Chicago pension crisis. $600 million. That's just in Chicago pension crisis. Scroll down a little bit more, give you what's going on here. It says in an interview with Crane Chicago Business, Emanuel posed two solutions for shoring up the woefully deficient police and fire pensions. Number one, negotiating a retirement deal with labor unions. And two, pushing legislation that would not cover only Chicago, but the whole of Illinois. So here we have the idea that these are two solutions posed by a mayor who's on his last term here. And then go to the next article here. It says borrowing billions to lower Chicago's pension debt. Emanuel's finance team is considering it. So here we have the idea of two solutions posed that could help the situation. The next solution will probably be to borrow it. So here's a little something going on here. It says the idea is to issue bonds at relatively low interest rates and use the money to reduce the city's $28 billion in pension debt. So the pension funds would invest the bond proceeds and ideally earn returns that outpace the interest the city would have to pay on bond debt. So issue debt to pay off debt to solve a problem. I don't think it's worked before, but more of the same here if you're interested in reading for yourself. Next article here says shell game. Chicago considers plan to borrow $10 billion to pay off pension debt. It says the city of Chicago is considering a plan to borrow $10 billion from the bond market to make increased pension payments and reduce unfunded pension liabilities. The plan does nothing to reduce the size of the pension liability. It merely swaps one type of debt for another. So here we have the idea that not only are they looking to research universal basic income, and so I'm not sure whether the fund's going to come for that to give people $500 in a test pilot. But then you have the idea that the pension system is imploding, and then he gave 2 solutions that could possibly work, supposedly. Then they're talking about issuing debt to pay off debt. Then we have here they're going to borrow $10 billion, $60 billion. There clearly is no solution to this problem here other than the fact that too many promises were given that will not be able to be lived up to, and so a lot of people will end up taking a haircut, unfortunately. So I thought I would take a little minute to share with you this story about the universal basic income, because I've covered this subject before, and I believe this whole subject matter is a part of the bigger picture of what's happening in our country here, how more cities and more states will begin looking into options such as this as our economy begins to come apart at the seams. So I'm curious to find out your thought on this whole UBI, as well as the resolutions proposed by the current mayor of Chicago in reference to issuing more debt to pay off debt. Will it work? And so leave a comment down below. Love to get your thoughts on that. And more importantly, if you have not, I posed a question on the Twitter page in reference to a survey, and it has to do with the idea of will there come a day where the Federal Reserve is rejected around the world? So click the link down below and answer that survey, and then tonight in RTD Live Talk, we're going to discuss it. Other than that, look forward to bringing you more news and updates. See you later.
The next recession.
Recession will be.
Will be a recession.
We're going to hit a recession.
The date of the next recession.
A U.S.-only recession typically lasts 8 to 10 months, but a lot of things about this particular one have not been typical. So
a crash is coming. Now, whether it's 6 months from now, 12 months, 36 months, no one knows.
I go to bed every night, I dream of another recession. If you know what to do, if you have the right plan to set up, you can make a lot of money from this.